Good afternoon. This is the Sludge Report, a side project of Uncle Benny's Creepy Campfire Stories. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Uncle Benny. Excuse me. Today is the day after 4th of July, the 5th of July, 2019. And I want to talk to you today about not the market manipulation, which, by the way, that's what this is. Interesting enough, I just noticed this. If anybody knows about pyramids and whatnot, yeah, I don't know if there's anything to make of this, and this is where you might fly out of the back of the wagon. But just curious note, here we've got, well, I ought to have my nice little pen handy, but I did not see this before I started the recording. I'm not going to start it over. This is going to be a very short video. I am going to try to promise you. Okay, so we've got basically, you've got this edifice right here, but you've got pyramid, right? And you've got an eye. I think that's pretty interesting, pretty clever. I forgot what the word is that you call it when you see things in the clouds. There's the words for it, where people see faces in things. But I don't know. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Kind of look at the angle of this of the Lincoln Memorial, how they made the edifice. It's angled, and just the font. Believe me, this stuff's important. Symbolism's important to these people, the powers that shouldn't be. And yeah, could it just be, oh well, it's just centered the typeface here. I have experience with trying to fit, whether it's on, on different social media platforms. You have so many characters, and one particular one, you have the ability to have these cards that are multicolored or patterns behind them, and so many characters, or just the way the spacing is, you go back to just black and white text, and you lose the visibility or the size of the font, and so you get good at word phrasing, and I just think this is interesting. That's all. Just an observation, right? Let's look at it again. You can kind of see what happened to my pen. There we go. You've got a little pyramid action, and then this is, whether you want to call it this or this or this or this, or just kind of the whole thing. And I don't know. I mean, somebody could find the film, whether that's an actual image or that was shopped in there to look like that. I don't know. Who's going to go looking for that? I don't really know. Anyway, let's move on. That is absolutely not the point of this video. And we're not going to talk much about the Drudge Report today. As far as Doom Dots, as far as all the other things going on, I'm going to draw our attention to, again, not the market manipulation, but by the way, that's what it is. Profit taking here, and ask me how I know. Just a moment. Had a little trouble here. I'm trying to close this pen that I use. All right, there we go. All right, thanks for bearing with me here. This is what we're looking at today. I've mentioned before, if you're new to the Sludge Report, I've mentioned before how the editor of this rag, this very important rag, gets over 15 million views a month, if not more. I think we can go down and find the figure, just so you know. As far as their tracking goes, 15,000, almost 16,000. I'm sorry, almost 16 million people monthly. Now, there's a lot more people in the world. Comparatively, who looks at conservative news sites and things like that, that's a lot of people. So it's one of the biggest news aggregates in the world. It's looked at globally, and it's, I believe, influential. So let's get back to what I'm talking about here. So I've mentioned before that the editor of the Drudge Report, the author, the originator, the founder, who started it as a tabloid-ish magazine for Hollywood gossip and Washington, D.C. gossip. Arguably, to me, it still is, but it's in my opinion, an agent of propaganda and mind control. And here I want to draw your attention. So Matt Drudge is reportedly a homosexual. And one thing I've noticed over the years of frequenting the site for news articles and things is that very often, and I've noticed about news in general, they'll dig up, as I use this analogy, they'll dig up a bus crash where 40 children are smashed somewhere deep in India if it's a slow news day, to just bring you the doom, right? But another thing that this particular editor or editorialist or whatever you want to call it, propagandist, likes to mix into the news links is lascivious articles. The raunchier, the better. The more scintillating it seems, the better. They make their way. They've got to have a search engine on or of hashtags of things to pull up stories to choose from to pepper them in here pretty frequently. Usually, this is an important observation today. Usually, in my experience, they're usually found down here on the left or down here on the right or in the middle. And maybe there's more even. I don't know. Haven't even taken the time to read all these headlines because you don't need to, frankly. So much that you're being told is spin and lies. It's designed to harm your soul, poison your soul and your heart, and get your heart to fail you through fear. Well, lose hope, and lose your joy. And, it's healthy to push yourself away from the table, So we're only taking one bite today. We're only looking at this. The article is right here at the top. You see my cursor. Humans wearing teledildonic suits can now have sex with each other over the internet. Now, if you don't know what this word means, and you probably do, but a dildo is a phallic type of a utensil, let's say, that females can use to enhance their sexual experience, or solo generally. So predominantly, I would say. Well, you put tele in there. What's that mean? Of course, it means it's like cast, right? So, you figure it out. Teledildonic suit. So this is about humans having sex with each other over the internet. So, it kind of explains itself here. And first observation is, this is up here at the top, okay? Part of it, I believe, has to do with the artificial intelligence or the, what's the word I'm looking for? Not Android, maybe Android. I can't think of the word all of a sudden, but, the humanizing of robotics, okay? So let's move over to the article, unfortunately, okay? I don't believe there's... Oh, and by the way, as a side note, again, I want to make this short, as I always say, like in the sidebars or whatever, and this happens to be the Daily Star, not the Daily Mail, Daily Star UK, and I find UK websites tend to have more than others, but they have, they're always showing, as a man, this gets to be quite annoying over time. You just thrust in before your eyes images of female form, generally in some kind of a scintillating a look, or a pose, or definitely scantily clad, that kind of thing. Well, it looks like I could scroll down here and see if there's any more on the sidebar, but they tend to be wordy. So up here is where their pictured bar is, and I just want to point that out. So all right, so let's get into the article here. So humans wearing teledildonic suits can now have sex with each other over the internet. Okay, what are you, Uncle Benny? A real prude? What's your problem with this? Well, this has to do with the powers that shouldn't be's vision for the future. And while ostensibly, my favorite word, this might seem to be a great thing for those who are isolated, those who are in a position to not be able to find a relationship for whatever reason, they can engage with someone who is not committed to, or is not going to be obligated to have physical relations or any commitment to somebody, but still this person can have that need in their life, that perceived need in some ways, met. Okay, so so that seems like good. Seems like a good thing. They're helping people who may be handicapped, or helping people who maybe they have some kind of physical deformity that that maybe is prohibitive from them from really finding someone who will accept them and get that close to them and whatnot. But what this entails, though, really, even though it looks like it's bringing people together and making them more fulfilled, I think you know where this is going. In the end, it increases people's isolation. How do I know? Well, case in point, have you yourself been engaged in social media and connected with all your old pals, your old schoolmates, your old friends, all these people, yet feel more alone? Has that ever happened to you? Okay, I don't know why this happened. Let me close something here to might help. Okay, we're back. So yeah, here's more. Cheating city of the UK. A busty woman, scantily clad, being ravished. You can, if you're on the internet for an hour, almost every site you go to, if you're looking into news or entertainment, you're going to have that kind of stuff thrust into your eyes. What did Job say? I set a guard before my eyes, I wouldn't lust upon a maid or look upon a maid. So even thousands of years ago, this is an issue, and the powers that shouldn't be know that. They know that men, in particular, can be brought to infidelity or overcome by inner passions. They lose their self-control through the through the natural beauty of a woman, and it's meant to be that way in a sense. And I want to keep this short. I'm going to get to what I wanted to get to because I've got at least 7 minutes of something I want to show you. So anyway, the point is, and I'm not going to read the article, but even this image right here, that can be very provocative, to someone. It's virtually soft porn just in a still, isn't it? So, and again, listen, you might say, well, Uncle Benny, you must be a prude. What if I was? So what? I'm not, but the point being is that this is unnecessary, right? But it's there for a purpose. I always say, and when this kind of thing comes up, there's nothing that you see that is not there for a reason. Now, what reason is this? Because you can't imagine what teledildonics and telesex is going to be like, or do they want to just give you an image for your mind that will come back up to you in sometime inappropriate, right? Or maybe your wife isn't as stimulating to you as this picture, right? Because maybe she's had an illness, maybe she's gained a lot of weight, maybe she's lost a lot of weight, whatever reason. Now you've seen almost a naked woman in her panties engaged in sexual activity. That they are. Just because she's wearing panties doesn't mean they're not engaged in sexual activity. And this is now registering higher on those things in your mind that naturally will fire off oxytocin, endorphins, things like that, just on an image. Okay, so let's move down a little bit. I'm not trying to find more images; it just happens to be there. Let's see. Here's a quote. I'm not going to scroll around to see. Oh, here's the antecedent. I'm not exactly sure who it is, but some commentator obviously on this industry. Their behavior will also become more realistic. We can believe they reciprocate our affection. Now that is a delusion, isn't it? There is a segment of people who buy these dolls, and maybe more than one. They have them made, and they literally will dress them up. They'll talk to them. They have a relationship with an object. And it's not just related to men. I saw a video, you can probably find it on YouTube one time, of this woman who married the Eiffel Tower. I've seen women marrying themselves recently. You name it. I mean, there's probably more things. I just haven't, I didn't actually think about that. I don't write out the script to this or anything. Okay, I'm just ad-libbing it. Okay. At this point, many people find it may be hard to resist their appeal. The robots would actually give everything and ask for nothing in exchange. Well, is that a relationship, right? Relationships being give and take. For some, it could be the ideal of. Yeah, exactly. For narcissists, for people who don't care about anyone else and anyone else's needs are a problem, are a bother, are an inconvenience. ladies and gentlemen, is that how we were created to be? Isn't that itself isolation? He went on to speculate whether once robots are perfect companions that never upset us, we will come to replace other humans in our emotional life together. Now, I'm sure he's going to go on to say, haven't read the article, it might go on to say, well, it looks like it doesn't, that won't happen. Well, I'm looking for a nay here. I'm not seeing it. And again, this article, let's see. Yeah, I don't see any rebuttal to that. So I believe that's very possible. They come to replace other humans in our emotional life altogether. Yeah, look at your Facebook situation or your Instagram or, whatever that it is. How much of that is your emotional life with other humans? Aha, I hit a nerve. Okay, if that's like a predominance of your emotional life with other humans, you're already being sucked in, and this is cooking a frog 1 degree at a time in a pan of water. Okay, this is nothing but a satanic furtherance. Nothing but a furtherance of a satanic agenda. God created man and woman to know each other and to procreate, populate the earth, subdue it. It's in Genesis. That's the original blueprint. They're created for relationship. Okay, so this kind of invention, while again plausible deniability, it's a big tool in their toolbox. Plausible deniability is that this helps people in extreme situations that they're being robbed of those kind of relationships of naturally. Well, is it? Could be. Well, maybe they ought to sell a prescription for it. Okay, but no, this could get so good that everybody has one. And that it definitely will. Well, there's a lot of things to riff on here. It definitely will curb relationships, cool relationships, and curb many. I was going to riff on the fact if you looked at the cultural situation about love and relationships between men and women in Japan, there's a lot of reasons that have to do with technology that has happened. All right, so let's move on to what I wanted to get to. So I wanted to share a clip from the movie 1984 by the book of the same name by George Orwell. And we're going to watch it. It's just it's 7 minutes. It's 3 minutes and 23 seconds long. And you're going to hear it. The audio should be good. I'm pre-recording this. I'm not using Google Hangouts. So we're going to watch this and we're going to listen to what he talks about the vision for the future, because this is a blueprint of what's happening. Even this artificial intelligence, teledildonics, it's a form of oppression. It's a form of suppression, right? Think about that. Is it suppression? I'm asking you the question. You think about it. What's it suppressing? What's the difference between suppression and oppression? Think about it, okay? So, Matt Drudge, who has no problem finding prurient and lascivious articles to pepper into his columns of ostensibly important, relevant social and political news, puts this one at the top, having to do with a vision for the future. So who is Matt Drudge really? I don't know. All I know is that what's working through him is working against love and peace and everything the Lord created the earth and men and women to be. Okay? So we're going to watch this now.
You've understood the reality of the past and of the present, Winston. Now for the future. The question: how does one man assert power over another?
By making him suffer.
Exactly. Obedience is not enough. Power is inflicting pain and humiliation, otherwise you cannot be sure. Power is tearing human minds apart and putting them together again in new shapes of your own choosing. Power is not a means, it is an end. In our world, there will only be triumph and self-abasement. Everything else we shall destroy. The past is forbidden. Why? Because when we can cut man from his own past, then we can cut him from his family, his children, other men. There is no loyalty except loyalty to the party. There is no love except love of Big Brother. All competing pleasures we will destroy. If you want a vision of the future, Winston, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. Winston, you are thinking that my face is old and tired. That while I talk of power, I am unable to prevent the decay of my own body. But the individual is only a cell, Winston. And the weariness of the cell is the vigor of the organism.
You'll fail.
Why?
It's impossible. Hatred and fear have no life.
Why is hate less vital than love?
I don't know. But somehow you'll fail. Something will defeat you. Life will defeat you.
We control life at all levels. We create human nature. Men are infinitely malleable. Or perhaps you return to your old idea that the proletarians will arise. Put it out of your mind. They're helpless animals. Humanity is the party.
I don't care. In the end, they'll beat you. Sooner or later, they'll tear you to pieces.
Okay, so this is my first run at doing this kind of a setup, and I hope it worked out. I thought I'd throw the closed captions on there, and they are not that good, partly because what the algorithms are working with, it's very breathy, and obviously the man on the torture rack, Winston, he's struggling to talk clearly. So I would encourage you to watch this movie, but in particular watch this clip. And there were a couple things of note in there. And before I forget, Winston at the end said, "You will fail and you will be defeated." He doesn't know how, but they won't succeed. He's telling him in his courageous spirit. But this is also an example how I've told you, here they've got the man. I haven't seen the movie in a long time. I can't remember what's going on right here. But, when the evil villain, whether it's a James Bond movie or whatnot, he's about to throw him into the sharks. They always tell him the megalomaniac always tells him what their evil plans are. And I've explained that to you before. Not that I'm condescendingly doing that, but I have to cover this, because that's how people learn who've never heard of this or thought about it before. There's a lot of magic that involves letting the victim know what is about to befall them. There's different reasons for that. You can study it, but the point being is that this guy's telling him what they're all about, what they're going to do. Why does he have to do that? In and of itself is just a demonstration of power, and that's one of the things that the greedy get off on is domination, dominion over people. And he talks about this in this video. But anyway, back to moving away from what Winston said at the tail end of this. The guy was talking about how one of the things that they'll do is separate people from their families, and when that's complete, the people's emotions are cut off from others, their attachments, their relationships, that there'll be loyalty to the party. Well, how does this relate? You're going to have to think about that, okay? This is not a perfect overlay metaphor, but in a sense it is, if you understand what's happening in the bigger picture. So I hope you enjoyed this little commentary. There's just so much all the time to talk about if you wanted to, but it's a world on fire, and you can let the mother effer burn, because it isn't turning back. Men shall wax worse and worse, being lovers of their own selves, losing natural affection. Okay, that's in the Bible, right? Bible say that men shall be lovers of their own selves, losing natural affection. What is this? Right? These are the end days. I need you, myself, to be walking in that, to be thinking that, because, it's hard to walk alone and not be sharpened by other people who are reminding you of the times that we're in. Because it's easy just to go on and asleep or fall back asleep, even for a minute. It just happens, if you're a human being like me, which I'm pretty sure you are, most of you. So at any rate, there you go. That's the Sludge report for the 5th of July, 2019 AD. Thank you.